video, the kids from the focus groups seem to understand the risks and the benefits of their online lives pretty well. Again, are they evaluators of their behavior? But we're so happy that you're here. What advice would you give to the kids, and then what advice would you give to the parents?
Sure. For me, it's really simple. I don't let my kids do anything I don't understand. And to me, I always think about this analogy to streets and cars and you know, all the rules that have built up around. You know, as a parent, I know the rules I want for my kids in terms of when they're allowed to play out on the sidewalk, when they're allowed to go down the street, when they're allowed to ride their bike on the sidewalk, when they're allowed to ride it on the street, when they have to have a helmet on, when they don't have to have a helmet on, when they have to be in a car seat, when they have to be in a booster seat, when they can be in the front seat, when they can take driving lessons. We have all of these rules around that, and we understand the risks. And you know, sometimes I'll let my kids, they get very excited when they can unbuckle their seat as we're like half a block from the house. And I'm okay taking that risk because I live on a quiet street. but you know, the internet is no different in terms of there are lots of different risks and there are lots of different benefits. And I want my kids to go on the internet and use the internet really well. I love that my 4-year-old can go and do a Skype video call with her grandparents in Florida, and that I only have to be very tangentially paying attention, and then they can have a half-hour conversation, and it's like having a babysitter.
So this goes on security, okay? Because you tell them when to put a helmet on, right? So you have to remind them, I'm sure, to put a helmet on. And so it's that security that you're enforcing as a parent, but when it comes to the internet, how does putting a helmet on, I love that metaphor, but how do you translate that into the virtual world?
There are a lot of great resources out there for parents online. To kind of look at Facebook a little bit, we very recently revamped our safety center to tailor the messages to different audiences. So we have a section on, you know, for parents, for teachers, for teens, for yourself, and try and focus the message like that. I think there are different components to safety in the different contexts. I've talked a lot to my oldest daughter about interacting with people online and how you can't necessarily validate that the person on the other side is actually who they say they are. So if an email comes in that's from your friend, it might not actually be from your friend, and what are the things we can do together to evaluate that. In the micro context of Facebook, we have a significant number of controls that we try and use to help people be safer, but we need people to understand those controls and to use those controls to be safe. In the same way you have a seatbelt in your car, but you don't have to put it on. We have privacy settings, you don't have to use them. There are a whole bunch of different things like that. I was talking to someone in the hallway today, before we came in, we were just talking about making sure that your child or teen gives their actual name when they go on a site, and not actual name, actual age. Because if you think about a lot of sites on the internet, like Facebook, we do a whole bunch to make sure that different types of content is not visible to different users. But if a teen goes on the site and says that they're 22, they might get alcohol advertising. They might have access to a game that we have forced the developer to age gate to people who are over 21. Their privacy settings will be different. If they're 22, they can receive messages from people they don't know. Whereas if they're 13 and they say they're 13, they won't receive those messages. So there are a bunch of little things that you can do, and then there are the big things. But it all starts with getting in there and understanding it and knowing it.